I promise you right now, yes, I absolutely want to talk about that big moment at the end of this movie, but I can't for the sake of spoilers, and this is going to be a non-spoiler review. But I know if you've seen the movie, you're probably coming here going, is he going to talk about that moment? I won't. Just know, yes, I want to talk about it because this film is batshit crazy. It's insane, and it has such a memorable third act that Rose Glass, yes, the director of Saint Maud, once again crafts such a unique movie that really will have you remembering everything. Because it's such a memorable piece of cinema that you're sitting there just going, holy crap, they went there. They go to a lot of different places in here, and I'm very excited to talk about this brand new Neo-Noir love story. Again, directed and written by Rose Glass, also starring the likes of Kristen, Stewart, Katy O'Brien. But if you don't know what this film's about, it's about Lou, played by Kristen Stewart, who is a reclusive gym manager who falls hard for Jackie, played by Katy O'Brien, an ambitious bodybuilder who's heading to Las Vegas to pursue her dream. Their love soon heads to violence as they get pulled deep into the web of Lou's criminal family. Also stars the likes of Jenna Malone, Dave Franco, and Ed Harris. Now, I've been incredibly excited for this movie ever since it was announced, mostly for the fact that Saint Maud was one of my favorite films of that year, and I'm still thinking about the third act from that horror film. But this is an A24 movie, so is Saint Maud. So are a lot of films that we see throughout the years. And I understand if you're coming here thinking that you hated this movie, if you're coming to this going, what the fuck did I just watch, and wanting an explanation, I'm not here to give that. I'm giving you guys my review of what I thought on the film. And I'm one of the people that did end up loving this movie. It's not perfect. I understand that there are quite a few issues in the third act that I'm going to talk about. But even with my issues, this film is still so memorable, and it's insane in certain ways that it goes, and specifically how big it goes. Going into this movie, I didn't really know what to expect from watching it, because Saint Maud was a straight up dramatic horror film that really focused in on religion and faith. Like Bleeding, I was expecting to be more of a Thelma and Louise, maybe kind of neo-noir, a little bit darker thriller. And while it is a thriller, it is overall a romance. At the end of the day, it is a romance. What would you do for love? Would you lie? Would you bleed for that person? What would you do? And that's what I love, is that it does such a great job at building up that romance that is crazy and as insane as this film can get. No matter what, you're still cheering for the main two leads. And I really love, no matter how dark the film got, I still fell in love with these characters, even if I probably shouldn't have. And the film is so greatly written in that part, and I'm so excited to talk about it today. But I definitely want to hear your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section. Are you excited for Love, Lie, Bleeding? Are you not? Let me know down below in the comment section. But make sure to also hit that like and subscribe button for more movie and TV content over here on a daily basis. I'm a nerd. If you're clicking on this, you're probably also a film nerd as well, so let's have some fun talking about it every single day over here. So with that said, first thing I love to talk about is my pros. I always like talking about the positives of the film, and number one thing in here is Kristen Stewart and Katy O'Brien. Focusing more on Stewart first, she anchors this film with such emotion. She very much is the character that you want to root for, who you know has a past, and instantly you know something's up with her, and as reclusive as she is, you want to get to know her. You want to understand what's going on. She's kind of that person you pass by on the street thinking she's just a little weird, but in reality she has the biggest story to tell. Love what Stewart was able to do with that role, and just instantly you can see so much within her performance, just within her eyes, and she transforms into this character Lou. At the same time, Katy O'Brien, who I loved in Mandalorian last year. I thought she did such a great job in that one episode, even though that episode I thought was a waste and felt like something that should have been more in Andor. She was phenomenal in that, and I've wanted to see more of her ever since, and I would say this is her big standout debut role. This is the film that people are going to remember and think back, wow, where did she come from? And I'm going to be here saying, she came from here. She came from Love's Lie, Bleeding. She is so incredible in this. It's one of those performances that you instantly remember, and it's going to be one that I'm going to be thinking about all year long. She is just unforgettable into the way that she transforms into this bodybuilder, but primarily as well as the loves and the obsession. And there's this Jekyll and Hyde element that they do with steroids in here that I absolutely loved. And again, I don't want to get too far ahead over to the director yet, but just remember that we're going to talk a little bit about horror and imagery and horror. And even though a film doesn't have to be a horror film, still include horror undertones in your movie. And I love what Rose Glass was able to do. Alongside, this is a romance, so you have to build up their relationship, their chemistry. Instantly lovable. You want them to work out. You love their chemistry. And just from the opening scene alone with what they're talking, communicating with one another, you can fall for that easily. Even if like you are having your same thoughts, there's certain things that you find out about Katy O'Brien's character that you're like, she using Lou? And then there's like certain things that come out later on that you're like, is it the opposite way? Like, how is this working out? And I always found that their love was again the center of the story, no matter how crazy, how big, how thrilling, how shocking the story gets. It is always centering in on what you would do for love. And that's kind of the question that the film will make you ask, is what would you do for love? Would you lie? Would you bleed for them? It's all those sorts of things. I really think the title is very clever as well here. Alongside this, Dave Franco, great. Jenna Malone, great. Ed Harris, scary good. Really love what they were able to do in here. Also, shout out to the score. I thought the composition in here was just great. Added to every single scene. Primarily like the first overhead shot that's kind of dropping down on this view of the gym. That's one of those shots that like, if it had instantly, like say you're watching this on FX or AMC and you're sitting there wanting to watch something, it will instantly grab you and want to take you into what kind of story you are watching. It kind of reminded me of back in the day when I'd sit and watch movies on AMC with my dad during October, November, when they do all these sorts of marathons. And I just remember like instantly being gravitated to films like that. And this film has one of those just instantly great opening shots that has a great score to go with it, and I loved it. It kind of reminded me of an old classic 80s, 90s movie, and I dug it. We don't get a lot of shots like that. The mastermind of this entire film really does come down to Rose Glass, who again, you've heard me praise through the start of this video to very much back all the way when I talked about Saint Maud. Everything that Rose Glass does just gets me so excited because much more of a show than tell kind of director. While this film does slowly indulge what is going on inside this world, what is happening in this world, everything that's happening to the characters, where do they come from, what's their backstory, why are they the way that they are, you start to really come to an understanding on that. And some of it is in dialogue, but a lot of it, in all of its bleeding truth, does rely on its showing. And a lot of that is in its cinematography, its storytelling, what you see in the surround sound. It's very interesting to how they're able to do that all. One of the things that gravitates me towards this type of storytelling. The other piece that she subjects into here is horror. There is some imagery in here that is fucking terrifying. Not to say that this is an absolute scary movie, but there's things that will absolutely disturb you in here. Certain things of just someone throwing up, but the way that it's portrayed to that person. Again, that Jekyll and Hyde element that I referenced, it gets brutal into those. And there's little things like that that just contain this element and this vibe of in a neo-noir that just keeps you on edge the entire way through. And it's one that once something's broken bad, how do you push all that back into the Pandora's box? And again, that those horrifying undertones, murder, death, love, lies, everything that you see in our world, it's terrifying. There's some imagery in here that will stick with me for a while, and it's stuff that I think some directors wish that they could put into their story. But this is where I do want to kind of start segueing towards my mixed and my issues with the film. As much as I enjoyed it so far, not a lot of films have come out this year. This is my second favorite film of the year. I have to say that I did find a lot of my issues in the third act. As memorable and as awesome as the third act can go, there's a couple things where I was like, okay, that seems like a little handy. I wish they would have developed that aspect a little bit more. And a lot of that aspect, and again, this comes from the show and tell, is from Ed Harris and Kristen Stewart's relationship. Father-daughter. You understand to the most part where this structure, where this issue comes from between them. But there's a couple things that rely in that 12-year gap of them kind of hating on each other that I wish they would have explored just a bit more. The third act kind of rushes some elements where I started to question certain aspects, and then other thematics that were kind of dealt with throughout the start of the film kind of come back, but they feel a little bit haphazard. And I actually wish the film maybe was 10-15 minutes a little bit longer to kind of touch into those undertones. But I also don't know if that would have affected the pacing, because I thought the pacing was pretty solid throughout. Those are just some of my things. You'll have questions towards the end where you'll be like, wait, what? Wait, why is that way? Wait, what is going on with this? And it's specifically one big thing you're going to be like, what the fuck is happening? And that's kind of like where I was. I went along for the ride at that point, specifically the big WTF in the room. You'll understand what I'm talking about when you get there. But I wish the third act wasn't as rushed. As much as memorable as it was, it just felt like it just went, whoop, okay, it's over. And there's certain things that I kept questioning, like, where's this element? Where's this element? Not like you're leaving the theater without having any questions besides one major one, but I kind of just went along with that one major thing, and the rest were kind of just like little nitpicks that I kind of thought about and made me think about for the rest of the film. But besides that, Love Lies Bleeding shocked me at every corner. It's a neo-noir love story that will leave your jaw hanging at some of its most horrifying imagery to its shocking reveals. Stewart is just the anchor of this, and Katy O'Brien is the standout. Rose Glass, for me, has done it again. The third act is memorable, and it goes there, but I wish there was a couple things where it kind of just slowed down for just a second, or maybe the middle points of the story would have kind of hurried us along in certain other aspects. It feels like there was a lot to divulge into this movie, and some of it is a little surface level. That's just my personal opinion. I can't wait to hear your guys' thoughts, but I did end up really enjoying this movie. Can't wait to discuss it a little bit more with you guys. So with all that said, I'm gonna give Love Lies Bleeding A-. Thank you so much again, guys, for watching this. Make sure to hit that like, subscribe button, comment down below your guys' thoughts, and of course, until next time, stay classy.